This is the Creator Podcast. I am Gus.
And I'm Jeff.
And we have our guest today is Carollynn the Comic.
That's me.
Welcome to the podcast, Carollynn. We're really happy to have you on board.
I'm really glad you invited me. I'm so stoked.
Yeah, it was the most random invite ever, and I'm so glad you did it. And, we're excited to dive into what you do and the creativity behind it. And, so I guess we'll just dive right in. So why don't you introduce yourself, like tell us about yourself, that kind of thing.
I'm Carollynn the Comic. I'm a comic based out of Sacramento. I do shows all over Northern California, and I'm starting to dip down into Southern California. I only started comedy in the last year, and it's really taking off. I love it. It's changed my life completely. I never thought, I can't even sing at my family's Christmas parties. I never thought that I would get on a stage, and I'm really glad that I just broke down those barriers of fear, and I've been doing it. It's great. It's crazy.
That's amazing. How did you break down that barrier? Like, that is the most difficult part. Like, what do you think did it? Like, I'm just going to not care anymore?
2 years ago, I started listening to motivational podcasts. And January, I decided, this year's my year. I'm going to be 30. So I was freaking out. I'm actually going to be 30 next week. I'm horrified.
Happy birthday.
And I did crazy things. I started doing jujitsu. I lost 100 pounds since January.
Oh,
I started doing comedy, all of the crazy things. And I think just finally being comfortable with myself and not wanting to hold back is really what changed.
That is really incredible. When I was 14, I lost a crazy ton of weight, so I can relate to that. It's all about reinventing yourself, and it seems like you quickly found this new way, and comedy is such a fun, happy place. So, I mean, some people say it's really dark and sad, but you shine through. How do you see it?
Oh, it's so dark and sad. I've never been with a more funny suicidal bunch in my life. It's ridiculous. They're so angry and hostile.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's just interesting. So the first time, was that your hardest time doing it?
Yeah, the first time I did it, I was at a party with those white wine drinking ladies that nobody can stand.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
And we've all been to that party, right?
Yeah.
I was horrified that they were just going to talk about pumpkin spice and yoga. And then they were actually hilarious. And they were like, let's go to this crazy open mic in Sacramento for funsies and we'll all sign up. So we show up staggered. I don't drink. They drink. They were hammered. I was sober. And then we get to the end of the night and they're like, okay, for our last comic. And I'm looking at these 4 ladies with me. None of them signed up. I was the only one that actually did it.
Yeah.
And I was immediately had this crazy hate rage. And then I just was like, okay, well, this is something you've always wanted to do. Just cross it off your bucket list and do it. And when I got off stage, a local comic named Al Schumann was like, that was your first time. You did really well. You have to come back and do this.
Oh, that's incredible.
That's awesome. And were you just riffing on stage, just making stuff up as you went? I can't imagine it's easy to get up and kind of improv comedy. How were you prepared for that?
I was just riffing. I feel like a lot of us, especially if you're an outgoing person, you have things that you just say to people that they always respond well to. And so I just said a handful of things. I talked about, I'm divorced now, but then I was still married, and I was talking about, being married. And then I talked about starting jujitsu and being this fat housewife. I talked about my chiropractor got fired for humping my leg, which was really weird.
Oh, wow.
I talked about
I'm
that.
sorry. Can I laugh? I don't know if that's.
Oh yeah, you can
that's
laugh. It was really weird. He'd be like, "Has anybody ever adjusted you like this?" And I'm like, "Not recently, no." It was really weird.
Yeah, you talked about talking about your divorce and stuff. I was gonna ask kind of where kind of some of your inspiration comes from. Does it just kind of pop up, or is it mostly you're kind of just basically interpreting your life and just finding the funny things in your everyday life?
Just finding the funny things in everyday life, like, but also putting, in the beginning, it was just like everyday life, and then this would come up, and I would think it was funny, but then I realized that you have to have not only a parallel to make it relatable to something else, but also like jokes and an experience and your opinion about it. So now I try to put myself in situations that'll let funny things come to me. So I'm a much more outgoing. I say yes to everything. Like somebody the other day was like, "Do you want to go to my non-binary pagan ritual?" And I was like, "Wouldn't miss it for the world."
That sounds like fun. I'd go to that.
Yeah, a good time. Right now, I've been working on this bit because the other day I was talking to somebody and I was like, Casper is the happiest movie about a dead kid that I've ever seen. It's like so true. Like there's not a more heartwarming movie about a kid that died from pneumonia ever. And then like I realized like all of us 90s kids, like this movie set all of us up for a lifetime of being ghosted. And like I need to explore this more. And so just weird things like that will come up. Yesterday, for the first time, I downloaded a dating apps because I'm going to be on a show called Love Whores in February. Like, not love like whores, like love whores, scary films.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you're supposed to tell like dating nightmares. And I was like, I'm going to collect all of the nightmares. That's my plan.
Nice, the experiences.
Yeah, just putting yourself out there and letting experiences come to you and just having an open mind and, you know, I like it. It's going well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I know, like, I've heard things about, like, Mitch Hedberg and stuff used to, like, keep crazy notebooks and stuff like that. Do you, as a comedian, these are just questions I have that I don't have answers to that I can ask a comedian finally. Do you keep, like, a notebook or something? Or how do you keep all your material, like, in your head? Or how does that work?
I have 3 notebooks. So I have one that I carry with me all the time. I have one that's in my house, and that's by my bed. And I have one in my car. And I also have notes on my phone. So it's just constantly, no matter how stupid it is, if it makes you giggle or if you think that it's something that can be explored, I'll write it down. And if I don't write it down right then, it's gone forever. Like, I don't know how it happens, but I'll wake up at like 2 in the morning and be like, I have to write this down. And then it'll just be gone forever if I don't.
Okay.
Do you ever have like friends or family that's like, oh, you gonna put that in your stand up, and like they kind of like bother you with it, or they get uncomfortable, like not sure what's gonna happen next kind of thing?
Oh, my family hates it. My family doesn't like cussing and they don't like dirty humor. And I've pulled away from dirty humor, but that's kind of how I started. I think that's how we all kind of start because that's what you think is funny and outrageous. And especially women just seem to like really fall into that. And I'm trying to pull away from it, but it's hard to like rewrite a whole new set or whatever. But my family despises it. And they're like, well, I know that I'm in your bits, even though I've never seen it. And I'm thinking like, how can you be that much of a narcissist that you think that your life is so exciting that I'm going to like bring it out on stage? So they're all really worried about that. The only person I actually make fun of is my dad, and he thinks the joke is hilarious. So
Well, that's cool.
yeah, I'm doing crazy things. Like I was a professional photographer, was how I made my money. And
Nice.
I love comedy so much that I gave up the lease for my studio. It's over in February. And I'm selling my house so I can do comedy full time. So my house is
Wow.
actually
Oh, yeah.
taking the pictures next week. And yeah, it's weird. I'm going to rent a room for my cousin and just be a road comic and just do it full time as long as I can and just live the dream.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's one way to do it.
For sure. I think that's cool that you're taking the full leap. Like so many people try to do something in life and they take the tiny tiptoe into it, and then they don't have any success, or whatever the excuse could shut it down. They use that, and it's not really going for it. So I think that's pretty amazing that you're fully committed to it. I did the same when I started my art career. I just said this is it, and then it's kind of scary. But I think when you're scared like that, it keeps you motivated and hungry to get whatever you can.
Oh, yeah, it's horrifying. but I feel like I treat it more professionally because it's no longer a hobby.
Yeah, for sure. So you're full time, like you're able to actually pay the bills, even though you've gotten rid of a lot of bills. I mean, you'll have gas and cell phone, and are
Yeah,
you just
full
you?
time with savings and the money from the house, and then I try to let the jobs, like the uh, actual showcases and actual shows, pay for like my gas and commute and stuff. But I do open mics like 6 nights a week, and then I get booked on shows. It's crazy.
Yeah, like what kind of shows? Like you're saying, like stand-up shows?
Yeah. So like last week I did a show in Stockton, and the week before that I was in Sonora and Modesto, and then next month I'm gonna be in Concord, Fresno, and uh, Sacramento at the Punchline. So you guys are on a different coast than me, right? So that probably means nothing to you.
California.
Just kind
Yeah,
of all over, yeah.
yeah, we're East Coast boys. Um, we've been that pretty, I guess, our whole lives for the most part. But yeah, that's what we do. But I go to California sometimes in business, and and you got approached by like a real TV show. Is that what that is for? What was it called? Stories of Horror or something like
Love
that?
Wars is
Love Horrors.
it's gonna be a local stand-up show that's like circulating, like the same three women at a fairly decent sized club called the Comedy Spot here in Sacramento. And then it'll be
Nice.
every couple months. And so they're doing the first one in February because of Valentine's Day.
Yeah, got to.
And then eventually it'll be like where it moves into other clubs. That's usually how it goes. Like you start a show and then it'll be at one club for a while and then it gets big enough that it moves to a second club and a third club.
No, it's kind of like Broadway or something. That's cool. I didn't know they do that with comedy stuff. That's really cool.
Yeah, it
Yeah, it's
is.
pretty
It's fun
awesome.
when you have a producer with like a fun idea for a specific like niche kind of show that women will love.
Yeah. Now, is that something that you're gonna write all brand new material for, or can you kind of rehash some of the bits that you have now?
I got put on the show for a bit that I have that I call the fuck date, which was the worst date of my life. Like it was horrendous, and it was also the first like real date that I had after I split with my husband. So I met my husband when I was 16. So 16 to 29, I'd only ever dated one guy. So it was like this big ordeal, and it was horrible. Like everything went wrong, and a couple of women here in Sacramento that are also comics saw me do that at a show, and they were like, "We want to produce this show. We'd really like you to be on it."
That's fun. It's
Pretty
always good to
awesome.
have, yeah, like early success like that, and to get accepted by your comedy peers in such a short amount of time. Yeah, I mean, to me, I think you're just gonna keep kicking ass and growing, and I mean, I'm always optimistic about that kind of stuff, but I see big things in the future.
Yeah, just because of that picture though that you drew.
Oh
That's
yeah,
the turning point,
yeah.
hands down.
People don't know that. Yeah, I did art for you. Uh, it's going to be coming out soon, and that's kind of how we met online. And yeah, that's why you're going to be really successful. That's 100%
Yeah,
Like the second I got that in my inbox, my joke writing
it.
got better.
that's
I
Probably.
usually what
went from a
happens.
hack
Yeah,
to a legit comedian immediately.
that's usually
Jeff
what happens. The
Jeff
golden
could tell you.
touch.
Yeah, Jeff could tell you when I gave him the golden touch. Changed his
Yeah, that was
changed his life
that was
forever.
that was that was behind a gas station, but we don't talk about that.
No, we
Yeah.
do not.
Gus Fink was the original R. Kelly. It's a problem.
Hey now, we don't want that getting out. Uh-oh.
No, you don't. Not in 2019.
No,
Take
No.
it
actually,
back.
yeah, that's a good point you brought that up. I was gonna ask about that because it seems like there's a lot of comics getting in trouble for being abrasive or I guess offensive. Everybody seems to be offended nowadays, and I try not to be too much of a cynic about it. But do you think that you have to like pull punches when you're telling jokes? Do you think when you're writing a joke like, oh man, I better not say this or I might offend somebody?
There's so many things that come out of my mouth hole regularly during the day that I can't say on stage, and I'm always scared, especially when I'm interacting because I do a lot of crowd work. Uh, I'm so scared that something terrible is going to happen and somebody's live streaming something, or yeah, it's kind of horrifying. I actually yesterday spent the whole day, I do a lot of like TikTok videos, and I spent the whole day being like crucified by 12-year-olds
Oh,
because I
yeah.
made fun of some men that had ornaments in their beards.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that.
I saw that one. Yeah,
and
I was gonna say, Jeff, are you taking
Well,
offense to this?
I can say as a bearded man, no, I don't take offense because obviously you're a comedian. But I would also say that I have chopped down 3 trees in my life, so I think I earned my beard. I think I
That's
earned it.
true. He likes doing stuff like that. He has done it.
Yeah.
They were so upset. And the video that they made to put me down, they called me like, they said this bitch on TikTok, and they just like dragged my name through the mud. It has like 90,000 likes. Like, people are so mad.
Oh, wow.
They're so mad, and I love it so much. It makes me so happy.
Yeah, it's
And
like the more they care about hating you, you become more relevant.
oh no, it's not even that. I just love people being roasted, and I love being roasted. It makes me so happy. And in the comments, they try to rip me up for like my face or my hair or the way I look or my tattoos, and I can't get enough of it.
That's good. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
it sounds like you kind of gained that through kind of, you were saying how you kind of turned a new leaf in your life and kind of just don't give a crap about anyone kind of attitude, and I'll do my stuff and you can do whatever you want, but you're not going to take me down.
Yeah, I love it. It's great to not worry about what anyone thinks, because I spent the last 12 years being this housewife that was like, well, the cookies have to be perfect and this has to be perfect and our house has to look like Pier 1 imports, and just constantly trying to be what society wanted me to be. And now it's like, I can just be me.
Yeah, you're free now, and it's like that's like an important thing I think about a lot of times. I always look around at everybody, and I feel like they subscribed to being this adult version that they are, but they don't really want to be it. They're just like, this will make me not stand out. This will make me fit in with the crowd, and I could die with this. It's okay. You know, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm gonna do this. This is acceptable. I don't like that. I wish I could dress like this, or I wish I could be this person, but no, I'm subscribing. And they're fully committed that they don't even remember that they had a dream or wanted to do anything else.
They're so worried about somebody hurting their feelings or making fun of them.
Yeah, and it's a shame because it's almost the same leap for anybody who does something creative or is truly them. It's like you're so scared to show that side at first. But the more you share it and the more people, give you good feedback, it really it lets you grow and then you get confident with it, and it's just like it's kind of like a magical thing that could happen, and you could be such an inspiration to others. So that's it's really cool you've done it in such a short amount of time, and that you're fully running with it.
Yeah, it's kind of freaking me out, but it's going well.
Yeah, and that's another scary thing too, is when you have success, it gets freaky. You're like, what's gonna happen? You're almost like waiting for bad stuff to happen or something. So
You're in like a niche thing. How many boobs show up in your inbox? Because I can't handle any more dick pics. Like, it is freaking me out.
well, I've surprisingly none. Like, I don't show my face. I barely ever show my face, which helps. Not that I'm like, Mr. Studsley or anything, but like a girl yesterday hit me up and she goes, I really want to know who the face is behind your voice. And I was like, do some digging on my Instagram, you'll find me. And then she did, and she's like, oh, and, complimenting a little bit, but it's like I don't show that, and I never, like, as a guy, you really don't get it, and I don't ever flirt back with anyone. At least I don't think I ever do. So, I mean, girls are less likely to do
Is
that,
it
and
is that a thing? Are girls sending out boob pics? I don't know about this. This is new.
Weird stuff happens. Like, I have some comic guy friends, and they get some weird stuff. Or like, I kind of sort of am seeing this guy, and he's an artist, and he's like in that niche space too with like horror movies and stuff. And he gets so much weird stuff.
Oh yeah, what's his name? I'm curious who he is now, since he's in like the sort of thing that I'm doing.
It's Misery Loves Company.
Oh,
Misery Loves Co. on Instagram.
Oh, he's our next guest. Actually.
Yeah, that's
Really?
that's how we do it.
No, I'm kidding.
That'd be really awesome.
I'll check him out for sure. That sounds cool.
No, he is really great, but like,
We can book him if he wants to do it.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure he'd think it was fun, but it's kind of like, it's crazy. And he's the one that I reach out to him all the time because I'm like, okay, I got this message. How do I how do I handle this? How do I navigate this? Because he's used to that kind of stuff.
Well, the thing with dick pics, like how? So is it the open? Is it the open?
That's a great segue.
Is
with dick pics?
Is that the open? Is that like the open thing? It's like not hi or hey. It's just bloop. Here's my penis. Is that how it works? Wow.
That's the thing. Yeah.
That's just a horny guy who's like, you know what? We're gonna go for nothing. And it's such a
one.
Yeah, go ahead.
The best one I ever got was I did a TikTok video because I've been on the ketogenic diet for so long. I did a I guess it's kind of like one of those like old 1950s, like, well, she deserved it. It's because of what she was wearing. But I did this TikTok video where I was like, I've been on the ketogenic diet for so long that I would suck dick in a back alley for donuts.
There you go. Keyword.
Yep. My fault.
They're like.
And then I got a dick pic with a guy with his dick in like a Homer Simpson style pink sprinkles donut.
Oh.
Yeah.
Put art to it.
I did exactly what you're thinking. I was like, "Will you marry me?" He said.
That sounds like it might have been a Google search. I don't know. I mean, not that I'm Googling, but
maybe
somebody. Yeah, I don't know.
You spend your Wednesday night.
That's definitely a Google search because I saw that penis.
I've seen that one. I've seen a couple versions. You said pink sprinkles. I've seen yellow. Seen glaze.
It's a go-to. I'm going to use this dick pic.
That's right. He's probably got a whole collection.
GlamorousDickPics.com. You don't want to go out with your own dick. Go to GlamorousDickPics.com.
Now somebody just sold that.
It's a sponsor of ours.
Yeah.
My favorite is guys with this is like, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but my favorite is guys with hand tattoos because they'll go so far out of their way to make sure that hand tattoo is in the picture with their dick. They won't hold their dick the normal way. Like they'll flip their hand up. And I'm like, I know you don't do it that way.
That's the signature style. They want to make sure whoever sees it knows who it belongs to.
And you have a hand tattoo.
She needs to know that my faith is solid by the Virgin Mary Guadalupe on my hand.
Well, maybe they're trying to relate to you. You have a hand tattoo, right? I thought I saw one. Is that true?
Yeah, I do.
There you go. They're trying to relate. They're like, hey, we're the same. Let's do it.
Yeah, they want to. And another note too. I noticed you also have a straight edge tattoo, chest tattoo.
Yes.
And that makes all three of us on the podcast here have straight edge tattoos. Did you know that?
Really?
Oh yeah.
We could call this podcast Triple X and start a new one and call it now. Well, fun fact, I don't call myself straight edge, but I am technically, I'm 40 years old, so I'm the old guy in the boat. But yeah, we don't do anything. So when we hang out, it's just the Triple X show.
I would have never got it tattooed on me if people didn't think that I was serious every time I told them I don't drink. Like I got so sick of the people still no, like I have that problem with women now because my hair, they're like, I can flip her as long as you can't.
Oh, they see it as a challenge.
Yeah, underneath I should get straight edge and then just straight as fuck.
Super straight. That's 4X.
Super straight. Stop trying to convince me to do things I'm not interested in.
Yeah, they're trying to get you.
Yeah, it's crazy. TikTok is weird like that. There's this underbelly. They think it's a lip syncing app for children. It is not. There's this weird sex enterprise happening on the app.
Oh, wow. I don't know that. See, I got a TikTok because my daughter, we all kind of make fun of it. And I was like, I bet you I could. I kind of said something like, I bet I can get some followers on there or something. And then I post a couple videos. I have no idea what I'm doing. It seems really hard to make a good TikTok video. Am I wrong on that? Like, how are you gonna lip sync stuff or do all those wacky things?
Uh, it's really weird. The lip syncing's really weird. I'll do it every once in a while just to like stay with the flow of things, but I don't. It's weird because like I do mostly original content, like 90% original content. So people will take my audios and lip sync my voice, and then it's like it'll be like a dude, and he's got my voice, and it freaks me out.
How is that
That's
how that works?
It's cool they're
Yeah.
giving you feedback like that though. I almost feel like this is the new Vine. Is that kind of what it is for comedians and stuff?
Oh yeah, it's definitely the new Vine. I think it's better because it's 15 seconds or to a minute on the platform, and then also all of the editing is built in to the platform, so you can
Right.
do it's like endless things that you can do on there. And also like a lot of people will ask me like how do you make money off of TikTok, because that is a thing,
Yeah.
and it's through the lives. So you can
Use.
live stream what you're doing. I don't do it that often because I think it's kind of weird, but it can be
Yeah.
really fun. And
So
you can like riff.
and you'll make money off a live stream?
Yeah, so if you live stream, then it's really, I don't know, the whole thing's kind of weird. So like you live stream, and then if people think that you're entertaining, they donate to you, and then it goes to a PayPal account.
Hmm.
That's kind of like Twitch streams is similar, where people watch people play video games and give them money.
Oh, my favorite are the double dippers. They'll be live streaming on their TikTok, them on Twitch playing video games. And
Yeah.
You got to make
it's
that
like
money.
multi-dimensional thing.
Spread it around.
Yeah, which is why I think I offended those beard guys so much, because I don't do TikTok for money. And I'm assuming by the amount of followers and how often they're doing lives that that's what they were doing. And so that's probably why I pissed them off.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Thanks. Are you worried that you alienated a large segment of your viewers?
No, I love it. I can't help it. And I only alienated the little kids. And I hate when little kids are on my TikTok. So it's better that I'm blackballed by them.
Yeah, especially the
Right.
ones with beards that are 11.
Yeah, the little
Yeah.
with beards.
I hate those bearded 11-year-olds.
Does any of your TikTok content ever make it onto the stage? Like, or is it completely one is another thing and one is another?
They're totally separate. TikTok is just where if I think something's funny that I could never turn into a bit, but most of the time it's just me in the Starbucks line ranting at my phone about how much I miss carbs and how much I hate my life.
So doing that, I have to ask you, does that feel weird as hell, or is it? I mean, like you're 29, so that is a younger generation. Are 29-year-olds that comfortable that they could just do that in public, or is it still kind of nerve-wracking? Like you're around all these people and you're kind of doing your own comedy show.
You mean on stage or doing TikTok in public?
No, I just mean TikTok in public, like on your phone, where you're like, "Hey, what's up?" Whatever.
Okay, so like when I first started, I would like try to sneak TikTok videos here and there, and I'd be like super. And then I realized that the tides had changed when I went into a Starbucks, and I was just like, "You guys want to do shots on my TikTok?" And they were like, "Yes." And so they poured a whole bunch of shots, and then like all of us in the thing did espresso shots, and now it's like I can do it and talk to it anywhere.
Nice. So you kind of announce it and get people going.
Yeah, I think
Nice.
so.
Well, that sounds like people can be a part of it, as because I think some people might be afraid, like, oh, like what's this? Who's this lady talking to? Is she making fun of me? Like, people might get insecure about it. But then if you're like, hey, let's all get in on the joke and have fun, I feel like that's a different kind of vibe then, right?
Yeah, I hate when people like intentionally make fun of people, like when they record them and they don't know.
Yeah, it's
That
it's
really
a
bums me
real
out.
it's
And
a
so I
rude
try not to
thing.
do that. I make it an experience. Like, okay, this is a great story. One time I was doing a TikTok live, and I was like, okay, we're gonna go buy a new notebook because I filled my last notebook with funnies. And so I went to Target first. So I take all the TikTok people with me. On the live stream had like 40 or 50 people in it, and I take them into Target, and then we walked around Target and we talked to the people in Target, and there wasn't a notebook I liked there. So then we got in the car and we went to Dutch Brothers, and then I like dicked around with the people at Dutch Brothers. There was like the Slow and the Serious, like wannabe Fast and the Furious high school group there. We messed around with them for a while, and then we went to Walmart at like midnight. And like I walk into Walmart and there's this Walmart worker and he's in one of those little carts. And I'm like, hey, I'm here to buy a new notebook. I'm with my TikTok followers. Can you show me where the notebooks are? And he was like, yes. And he was on the little ridey thing. And I was like, will you give me a ride? And he was like, no, but you can take your own. So it's like me and this dude that works at Walmart on 2 carts going through all the aisles together with my phone and TikTok followers, just like talking to everybody that's shopping.
It's a fun adventure. I don't even think about that world existing. Whenever I go out, I'm like this weird hermit guy who's like, oh, I hope they're not looking at me. I'm way too much in the house working on things. So
you're behind your art most of the time, right?
Yeah. I'm always doing art or talking to somebody on Instagram so I could continue my art kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like my jokes aren't good enough yet to just rely on them. My jokes aren't at your arts level.
Well, yeah, but I love that you're so experimental with it and freeing because, like, you know, I always enjoyed doing that kind of thing. I tried stand-up when I was younger. I think I did it 6 times my entire life, and it's such an amazing, freeing, fun thing, but it's also really weird. So I think it's cool. This new generation of it, it seems cool. You can have your social media. It's like you're always doing the funny, and you're always. It's like that energy. As long as you always are in that energy, it kind of grows faster. I feel like the fact that you're going around everywhere with your phone. Not that many people are doing that. Like I've never seen somebody in public doing that, and I would maybe get really annoyed if they were, unless you got this fun energy, which apparently you probably have. Because I feel like if I did that, people would go, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, what do you get away from me?"
Who's
guy?
this asshole?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think a lot of people at first they think I'm on Snapchat because I've heard people say that before. Like, oh, she's doing snaps. And
right.
Surprise,
TikTok's
I'm not.
Yeah, TikTok's still kind of growing. It's like I just kind and I've been thinking, damn, I guess I have to do this so this thing doesn't become the next big thing, and I'm like the guy on Facebook still or something, you know, because I'm on Instagram. But I just feel like
you're
for
the old
artists, yeah, I feel like for artists it's not a thing yet, right? I feel like it's better for, you know, comedian for sure.
A thing.
Yeah.
For artists, for sure.
Oh, it is. Oh,
yeah.
okay, I didn't know that.
Like, there's massive hashtags that are just for art alone, like just where people will watch video after video of just like time lapses.
Okay, nice.
Of people doing art, and I want to say his name is Dave Conray. He is pretty big on TikTok with his art, and it's just like videos of him spray painting.
Okay.
And that's like a thing.
Yeah,
it is Dave Conray. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I felt like a monster. I'm super dyslexic too, so I mess up names all the time.
Your names are tough.
Yeah, it seems like TikTok is kind of like, well, I mean, Instagram does videos and stuff too, but I don't know. I guess you kind of have to just be on what's hot, and it seems like TikTok's taken over some realms, and people are starting to move away from Instagram a little bit, or maybe doing both.
Well, what's happening, it seems like, is like people are getting in bed at night and they're not watching Netflix. They're spending like a couple hours watching TikTok videos, like falling down this horrendous wormhole.
Wow.
And there's small TikTokers that are just like the people in their cars doing original content. And then there's also TikTokers that have been picked up by massive like production companies.
Big talks.
So yeah. there's this hashtag called mafiosi, like mafia original content, and it's these like handful of like 20-year-olds that have this like mafia war thing going on, and it started with just goofy lip syncing videos, and now like I think the last time I looked, they're like in Italy and sponsored by like Chrysler or something crazy,
Hmm.
or Dodge, and they're doing these like massive productions.
That's strange. Like I'm such a jaded person, so when TikTok came out, and whenever I see stuff with it, I usually get so annoyed by it. Because do you remember
Right?
how much? Yeah, do you remember how many advertisements they did for it? Like it was just. I feel like this is the social media app that won because they had billions of dollars already.
Well, I don't know how when they went from Musically to TikTok, I don't know how that happened, but
Yeah.
it's weird, and most of the stuff on there that's really popular is so stupid.
Right.
I,
Yeah.
I have a
Like
couple
whenever I see
videos where
that.
I'm like putting on cosplay makeup, just like my followers are really gonna get my vision on this one. Like I don't know if I'm gonna go with Billie Eilish or Lizzo, but it's gonna change their lives. Like there's like, and then there's these trends that just won't die. Like the same song to the same dance.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
certain
I
songs are really popular on there.
I think I've seen like I think my introduction to TikTok was it like YouTube suggested like a TikTok compilation or something, and it was like 2 hours long of like 10-second clips of children getting hurt. And I thought that's kind of what the app was. It was like little kids and teenagers and stuff like just like filming themselves going downstairs in laundry baskets and then
I
smashing their
wish
heads
it
and
would be
then
so much better.
and you can only put up with maybe a half hour of children getting hurt before you're over it. But that's what I kind of thought TikTok was. I was like, oh, little kids are just filming themselves being idiots, kind of like when we were kids. If we had like phones all the time, we would probably be doing the same thing. But yeah, but
I
apparently you do it to music, I guess.
Well, they'll lip sync. Like it's so funny because like when you see the kids do it, you don't think much of it because all of us sang in the bathroom for like hours when we were teenagers. So it doesn't that's not weird when kids do it, but you'll see these guys that are like 37 years old and they have a black and white filter and they're like tearing up and they're singing like a really sad Five Finger Death Punch song. It's so uncomfortable and awkward sometimes. And then there's this massive BDSM community on TikTok. And there's
BD.
like, yeah, you'll talk to people and they'll be like, well, I'm hunting so and he's a dom in the community and I'm a sub. And you're just like, wait, but you're like 40 years old on a platform for children to lip sync. And they're
Oh
like,
wow,
yeah, but we love each other.
there's the dark side of TikTok right there. There's some stuff
Well, yeah,
going on.
I guess that's where it's going as it gets bigger. It's like it's such a new platform, and these kind of things almost figure themselves out. Like we don't know what a social media thing is, and we don't even know where it's going to go. And it's like a weird thing. So you always want to jump on these things once they start getting momentum because you don't want to be lost, and you don't want to be the old person who's like, what, tick two, you kids, like, And then meanwhile, like whatever you're doing, no one cares about.
Yeah, it cracks me up because I feel like I'm old, but I'm like still pretty hip. And like if I had $1 for how often I get called boomer,
Oh yeah, that's a thing now. Yeah, I heard about that.
they're like, you boomer, get
I
off
just
here.
heard.
You don't belong here.
Oh wow, what
I,
dicks?
if you, People always just want something to complain about. That's just every generation gets a label that can be negative, and that's kind of what I think I'm a millennial.
Yeah,
I,
you're like almost what I am, which is a zennial.
I'm
Yeah,
close, but
you
yeah.
make
So
you make
people
more.
talk shit on every generation, but yeah, it's funny. I always think of never growing old, and you seem like you have this personality where like yeah, you might be an adult eventually, but you don't have to be a grown up. Like that's how I like.
Exactly.
Like when you're like a little kid, you like look at adults and you're like, God, look at all these adults are like they're like all like going to jobs and they look all tired and bored all the time and like, well, when I grew up, I guess I'll have to do that too. And then you're like, wait, no, you can still be like stupid and be funny like and be dumb like when you're
Yeah,
older and everyone can have fun and you don't have to be stupid and like this epiphany.
I think it is like really good to have fun and stay young, but I'm just really glad that I'm not in a situation where I'm crying with a black and white filter on TikTok, like, and I'm only doing funny stuff. I think a lot of it has to do with Midwesterners. That's what I've chalked it up to.
Yeah.
Like, it's winter, they don't know what to do, they're bored, they're inside of the house. I'd be doing the same thing.
Did you grow up in California?
Yeah, I did. I grew up in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay, because yeah, you have somewhat of an accent. I don't know if anyone's ever told you that before, but
Yeah, people mention it all the time.
Okay, then I won't mention it then. I don't want to make you uncomfortable.
No, it's an adorable lisp. I know. It's attractive, and
that's how you get the good dick pics.
That's how you get the good dick pics, when you say things like mad and sad and dog. Yeah, it's, I don't know. People ask me all the time, and then the more comfortable I get, the worse it gets. So sometimes, like, I try really hard to not, but it happens.
Do we sound like weird mountain men? Because we're like, speaking of accents, because we're close to Philly, that kind of thing. So I never know what kind of accent I have because we're always just around it. So
you don't sound like you're from the West Coast because you don't say like every 2 seconds.
Thank God.
You're not one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was listening to you guys earlier, and somebody said yay, like yay, and I was like, oh, okay.
I think that would be Jeff. That's a Jeff thing.
That sounds like, yeah. Well, I grew up near Cleveland, and people say that Cleveland doesn't have an accent. But then I grew up in Pittsburgh, or not grew up, but I lived in Pittsburgh for a while, and they have the Pittsburgh accent, which is like, oh, you just want to go downtown, get a couple of hoagies for $1. And then Philly is very close to that, where it's more of like a southern, not southern, but like this drawl, like I'm talking really lazy, like, oh yeah, I'm from South Philly, that's how I talk. And it's like really like they're very similar, and Tina Fey I think can do both of them pretty well. I know, and Nick Kroll does a really good Pittsburgh and Philly accent, but yeah, I try not to say dollar.
Well, my parents were from Ohio, and they definitely have a weird accent. Like, they're probably 3/4 of my problem on top of the lisp.
Wait, no,
yeah,
southern
like
Ohio or
they're
north?
from Lakewood, Ohio.
Hey, I know where that's at. My aunt lives in Lakewood.
Oh my
you
God,
guys
we might
related?
be related.
Yeah, we say pop, but I had to switch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Accents are weird.
Check that 23andMe later.
Do it. Well, yeah, you got to do it that way. The government has your DNA, and they got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it. I feel shame now.
Oh, they got you now.
You're in the system. They got you, and that's why Amazon Echo Dot is 99 cents. They want everybody to have one in every home in the house. They'll be giving them away for free soon. You'll see.
You'll see.
That's a topic for another conversation.
The Paranoid Podcast.
Yeah, I regretted my decision later.
Really? Why did you regret it?
Because I just realized, like, I don't know what they're going to do with that in the next 30 years. But what had happened was, have you ever, I know I said what has happened. Do you guys, like, have you ever heard of the East Area Rapist?
No.
Or the Golden State Killer, I think is his other name.
That sounds familiar, yeah.
That was me.
You're bringing back the golden shower. You're like, I don't want to let this go. I don't care if it's 2019.
Is that what he did? He was golden showering people after he killed them?
Oh my God, wouldn't that be the best though? I told a guy the other day I was trying to weed out the weaklings, and he was like, would you like to go out? And I was like, I don't know. Are you going to treat me like Edmund Kemper treated his grandmother? Because that's the only dates I like. And he didn't think that was very funny, so I never heard from him again. But so So this guy named the East Area Rapist, right? He's like it's a Sacramento thing. And anyways, I live in the neighborhood where one of the house next to me was one of the victims. And I bought Michelle McNamara, which was Patton Oswalt's late wife. Before she passed away, she wrote a book all about him. And she was like instrumental and she died before he was caught. But he was caught just based on people doing like things like 23andMe. And so that's how I got wrestled into it, because I was like, yeah, I just was like trying to weed out my family members that were probably killers or murderers. I guess that's what was really happening.
Just one way to do it.
Did I hear it wrong? Did you say he was caught because he used 23andMe.com?
I think it was like an uncle did, or like a great nephew. It was like, it's been a while since I read the book, but it was like really far removed, and took them a long time to use that DNA to track back to him for the like right age at the right time, that lived in the right area.
Oh, wow. He probably did it. See, now you can't murder anybody.
It's over.
Not anymore. There goes those plans.
Yeah.
But I did get one of those stupid Irish tattoos, and I have validation for that now when people make fun of me. I'm like, look at 75%. I am allowed to have this St. Patrick's Day tattoo. Don't judge me.
You got the proof. You just carry your papers everywhere.
What's your Irish name? Do you have it, or you don't want to give that away? Amy. That's fun. I never heard that word.
Is that a thing? You get an Irish name?
Well, no, I'm part Irish. My grandfather was Murphy, so.
Oh, that's way cooler.
I like it because Murphy's Law and all that. It's fun.
Murphys.
Yep, Dropkick Murphys. It's a good one. That's why I was asking. He might never heard it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was funny. My wife, she did a 23andMe for her dad, and her dad always talks about how he's mostly Viking. This is like every time we talk, we grew up, we're all Vikings in this family.
He looks like a Viking.
And so
sure.
he does. And so he did the 23andMe thing. My wife helped him. He sends it back, you get the result. It is like, you're mostly like English, and like you have some like Denmark and stuff, which is like small. And so he's like, oh, I don't trust that. I don't believe that. No, that's not me. I'm a Viking. And he didn't believe the results. And I was like, well, then I don't know what to tell you.
She almost ruined his whole life.
Yeah. So now he's not really a Viking, but he still goes around saying he is. So unlike you have the papers.
Around and he's like, I'm Norse. My great 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 grandmother was raped, and I am not going to deny it.
This might sound weird, but I always find it weird that we, as people, get so attached to these different labels. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like some kind of weird obsession. Like, we want to belong in some kind of group. And for me, I just think we should all be like, hey, we're Earthlings, and we're all here on Earth, so let's not worry about it. I don't know, just my own view on it.
All right, John Lennon.
I always want to be labeled as just me, like I'm just Carollynn.
Yeah.
But
like Madonna.
I've noticed that, like, I was vegetarian for 10 years, and like I couldn't leave being a vegetarian because I didn't want to leave the label, which was
your identity.
Stupid. Yeah, it became my identity. Like everywhere I went, it was like that. I was always the vegetarian, and so stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've touched on that before about identity, and basically people are so afraid to change their identity, and that's why I think it's so amazing that a point in your life you decided that I'm not going to be this person anymore and be a new person, and you changed your entire identity. And a lot of people don't have the willpower to do that. It's very scary.
Yeah, and what people don't realize is how easy it is, because once you get past that mental barrier, then you're free to just be yourself. And there's nothing easier than just being yourself and being unapologetic about it, because I was always ashamed about how I talked or the way I thought or the things I thought were funny. And I remember having this conversation with my dad where he was like, I can't believe you think Deadpool's funny. And I was like, Dad, I don't think Deadpool's funny. Like, I think Deadpool's fucking hilarious. And he was like, you're not my child. Like, you're disgusting. I don't even know where you came from. And he worked for 20th Century Fox. That's where he retired. So he worked there for like 35 years. He was like, I want to get rid of my retirement ring. I don't even want to be associated with them. And I was like, wow, where did I come from? Like,
Yeah.
it's
Wow.
just to have like this freedom to do whatever I want and say whatever I want. And if people don't like me, they don't have to be around me. I wish more people would do it. It's so easy. The weight loss was hard. The 100 pounds was fucking horrendous. But the comedy and just getting up on the stage, that part was just being yourself is easy.
Wow. Yeah, that's such an inspirational thing. Yeah, that's amazing that you're able to do that. That's crazy.
Have you kept any of your old friends, or are they all gone? Like it almost seems like sometimes that has to happen.
I'd say 95% are gone. And the people that I was really close with in my family has actually like flip-flopped. So I was really, really close to the people in my family that were like married with kids, and I have this house and I do this. And then the people that we would always consider outcasts in my family, now it's like switched. Like now I'm really close with like my sister that's like the more outcast of the family versus the one that's like super normal. And
because they're doing the same thing. Like they're putting these little labels on you. They're like, she's divorced, she's this, oh, she's a comic. It's just, I don't know. I'm kind of fascinated how human structure works and just social situations and what you think people are your true friends, and then you find out the truth because you shine on who you really are. And it's just interesting. It's interesting with life, like what makes up somebody's whole life. Like you could have stayed in that direction, but some switch went off, and you're like, it's going to happen, and it's going this way, and you're leaving the switches all on, and you're just taking off. It's a cool thing. I think a lot of people hearing this might be like inspired to do.
Yeah, and it's really not that hard. And a lot of the people that I lost over that time weren't people that left because I started doing comedy or because I just started coming into my own. A lot of them I had to be like, oh, you're negative. You don't have any dreams. You just want to be stagnant and walk through life until you're dead. And I can't do that. Like I can't associate with that. That's how I lost the majority of my friends, for sure.
Yeah.
It's almost like a purging.
Yeah, it was. It happens once a year, and the government says it's fine.
Well, yeah, that's why I was gonna say. That's why I asked, because like I've gone through that. When I started becoming me more so, and I think it happens. It's like a common thing, I guess. When you transition.
Does this happen to you where there's like people though that like want to gravitate towards you now that didn't care about you before because they think that you are something or you're gonna be something, and you're like, I don't like this?
Not me yet. I just kind of made a decision to not talk to my brother anymore because he doesn't get. I had this analogy, and I said it to my wife. I said, it's kind of like I'm a professional baseball player, and someone goes, "Oh, your brother's a professional baseball player? Do you ever go to his games?" And you go, "Oh, never once. Why?" Like that's kind of how he is with me, and doesn't care about all. So
he doesn't care about anything you're doing.
No, he doesn't at all. I think he thinks I'm just a loser, though. I don't think he knows what I'm doing at all. I think he just thinks like, I'm a loser. My brother's a loser. He's scribbling. He once said like all he does is scribble in coloring books all day. So, but yeah, I haven't had anybody trying to like old friends that have been dicks to me for no reason. I haven't had them come around yet. I'm waiting for it. I give it a few more years.
So you can shut them down.
No, I don't know if I'd shut them down. I don't know what I would do yet.
Kiss them.
Yeah, probably just
Welcome
make out.
them. Open arms.
I have had people from high school come out of the woodwork, but luckily it's only been people that are successful in like an entertainment type space.
Nice.
To
That's
be like,
the best.
to help me navigate what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so that's been really great.
You grew up in a cool area too. I mean, that's the place to be for entertainment. So it's good that you know some people. Your dad even worked in the movie industry and is proud. He's proud of 20th Century Fox.
He was proud until Ryan Reynolds, and then it was all over.
Wow.
Uh,
Sorry, Ryan.
We'll have to talk to Ryan about it when he comes on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to be like, look, first of all, you know Carollynn the Comic. Her dad feels so much shame around your name. Yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird also dealing with strangers as a female. I was on a podcast last week and I talked about this, and I don't want to bring it up again, but I think that it should be out there. Whenever I heard on social media and stuff about like these women and Me Too this and Me Too that, I was always one of those girls that was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm sure you're just like making the whole situation bigger than it is. And from the second I got on a stage and started doing comedy, how mistreated women are, whether it's in your DMs or after a show, it's really weird. And I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate that, because if I say anything that's sexual, or if I put something out that's sexual, then these men in my direct messages or wherever will kind of be like, oh, well, you had it coming. And it's weird. I don't know how I feel about it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame that guys are perverts, and it just...
Yeah. I had this one guy here in Sacramento that after a show, I like my second week doing comedy or something, and he was a fairly well-known comic, was like, when we get inside the club, I'm going to make out with you and you're going to let me. And I was like, no, I'm not. And he was like, well, you talk really trashy on stage, and I know that you're talking directly to me, and you like all of my pictures on Instagram. And he also said that he went home and jerked off to like one of my sets, which was like just like a jokes, like dirty jokes. And and he's like in a position of power. And so that was really weird for me. Luckily, I'm objective enough that I was like, oh shit, this is how Louis C.K. happens. That's what's happening right now.
Jeez, that's crazy.
Louis C.K. is actually funny. Maybe he would have had a chance if he was actually. But it was just, so that's like a real thing. And so when those old friends reach out and they're like, look, this is how you deal with this, or this is how you deal with that, or even like that artist I mentioned earlier, that Aaron that I date, I'm kind of sort of seeing casually, he will be like, when I get these messages, like, this is how you navigate that, and that's how you do that. And I just really appreciate people that have like a big name on Instagram or have dealt with that.
Yeah,
sorry
awesome.
to rant about it, but it's a real thing,
that's
and like
awesome.
It's happening to people on Instagram all the time.
Well, it sounds like the comedians, in your experience, I mean, is there kind of like a community of like support with comedians, or is there more of a competition where everyone's out to kind of outdo each other?
You know what's weird is it depends on the week, because like sometimes comedians are all feeling really manic and they're like, we're a tribe and we're gonna get it together, but then like 2 weeks later, 3 of them are having like some bipolar bullshit, and then it's just like all falls apart. The ups and downs are insane. It's so weird too, because you see somebody do the same 5 minutes every night all week long, or you'll see them do 10 or 15 minutes at a show, and it's the same exact thing, and they go up there and they don't miss a beat, but then off stage they can be like, they're weird people. I'm one of them. I'm weird too, but it's a weird, but I'm sure art is the same thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's not really any normal artists, and if there is, they just paint bullshit, and you can see it. But if their art's interesting, they're probably pretty weird, from what I've seen, And I think comedians they're artists just in a different form. It's they're entertaining, and they're coming up with material that, as long as it's their own, it's definitely a form of art. It's like modern, I don't know, I'm going to say it's wrong, like literature or something. There's something to that, and you're putting yourself out there for people to rip you apart. So I think whenever you do that, expressing yourself, it's just strange, I always fantasize about doing more kind of stand-up and stuff, but I'm like, at this point, I'm like, well, you don't want to commit to that. Too many things I already got going on. Yeah.
It's so much fun. It's like
It is.
therapy.
Yeah. It is fun. Yeah. I might have to
What was
start
your
again. I
first
don't know.
joke that you ever told? The 6 times you did it.
I don't remember because it was all improvised. I just came on. I was 19 years old in Philadelphia, and it was mostly there wasn't many white guys in the club, so they were being really harsh on me. They're just yelling at me, like, "You're white," and I was like, "Yeah." I was in character. I was in character the whole time. I had these weird fake glasses on. I had dreads at the time because I was like a punk rocker guy, and I was talking in this weird voice. And before I went on, I introduced myself to everybody I could. I would shake their hand and stuff in character. And I lasted until the red light came on. I didn't know what the red light meant. And some comedian did pull me over and was saying, like, it was pretty good. You just got to work on all this. And I just got so scared. I just like, I can't do it again. So, and then I did
Black
for like
clubs are my favorite clubs because there's like nothing but honesty there.
for sure. Yeah, they'll heckle you.
The white clubs, they'll just like politely laugh if they don't think what you're saying is funny. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. You're like a barometer. I need to know if this is actually funny.
Yeah, white people can be too polite for sure.
It's factual. But I think it's so funny that you showed up there looking like with dread. Like I just picture this like dread sunglasses inside punk guy. And you're
They weren't.
the
Yeah,
most
they weren't
professional
sunglasses.
person. Like, hi, how you doing?
Oh, that would have been great. I forgot. I think I did some weird voice, like, "Hey," I don't even know. It was some weird character thing that I just came up with on the spot, and I was like, I'm rolling with this. I also did a blue collar tryout thing where they filmed it, so that's hidden somewhere. When I lived in LA, and I did it in Chicago once, normal. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. I always wanted to do it with someone else, like in on it with me. Like at least they know what I'm doing. So I just want to do that if I want to do it again. So Jeff, you could be that for me, or you could do
Oh
it
yeah,
with me.
I'm in it. I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well,
I
you are the master comedian, and
I am not. No, I am
no,
not. But
you're getting there.
slowly. But I think it would be really great to watch you do an open mic. The two of you together would be hilarious.
Well, yeah, maybe we'll film it just and it's just for you. We'll just be like, here, you inspired this. If Jeff's down, I would do it. There's little crappy comedy clubs around here, but there's not a good scene or anything out here. So it's cool you're in an area where
Crappy
there's
comedy
tons.
club. Just do it. Just do it
Yeah,
in 5 minutes. It'd be
like
so awesome.
like there's restaurants and stuff. That's what there is. So
I do a restaurant open mic every Tuesday and a bar open mic every Friday. And this bar is like, when I'm there on that stage, I just think like if there was a cord to this microphone, I would kill myself right now every Friday. And
so you always you're dying up there every Friday, but you keep doing it.
every Friday, it's
That's
like
pretty beautiful. You could do that and get past that.
oh, I love it. There's no, if you know you're gonna eat a bag of dicks, there's no pressure. You're just like, I'm gonna get up here, I'm gonna try out whatever joke I want. Nobody paid to be here. You don't have to
Yeah.
worry. You don't have to actually give them a show, and then it makes your crowd work better. I always joke that I have this thing called slut Tourette's because when I first started, I would get like too flirty. I would get uncomfortable and I'd get really flirty. I'd be like, hey, what's your name? You single? You on a Tinder date? What are you doing after the show? Like I would get like super anxious. And now I just love to roast people if they're not listening. It's so much fun. And then it has like a really crowded bar and it's like a hallway and nobody's listening. Or sometimes there's one person and they don't give a fuck about what you're saying because there's some sports shit on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so strange. It's so weird. Like, like you're just there doing stuff and no one cares. And so do you ever, this is, I think, the hardest thing for probably a lot of people, but so you do a shitty job or maybe you did okay, you got some laughs, but you leave and you just feel awful. You just feel like, oh, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what's your cure to that? Or is there no cure?
I'm disgustingly competitive, right? So like if I leave there, I'm like, well, fuck you then. I'm gonna write. I'll see you when I'm on a fucking TV in 4 years. Like I
Yeah.
get so hopped up and angry, and then I get this like hate rage from the inside that pours out, which is like, it's hard too because like I'm so new that I still haven't found my voice, because I am that like hate rage person that's super angry, like on that TikTok video that everybody despised. But then I'm also like just really funny and bubbly. So like bringing those together for me on stage has been really hard. So like if I write after a set where I ate shit, it's like I'm going to come up with something so relatable and tear it apart and tear apart the people that enjoy any like football. Like I'm going to take down America's national treasure and destroy it. Like, but it never, like it's so hard. It's so confusing to figure out how you want to be perceived by other people, but still staying true to yourself.
Well, because I've never met you before, and this was our first conversation. I watched a little bit of things, not a lot, but it almost seemed like they're here on the show. You're more relaxed, and it's great to hear your true self. And like, I almost like if you went in that direction, I don't know anything, but it seems like you're probably going to, and people are really going to love it because it's just so calm and not amped up, unless it's just amped up for TikTok. You know, I think you kind of have to be.
Yeah, I get amped up on TikTok. That's true. A lot of that too is because it's really hard to say that many words in 15 seconds.
Yeah, right.
But on stage, I'm much more relaxed. But when I leave, I've never been one of those people like when the crowd hates me, I never hate the crowd back. And I see that a couple times a week, and I love watching that happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard because like if it's not going well, my natural reaction is just to go right to crowd work and get them back on my side.
It's smart.
It's weird. Like people say weird things when you're up there. I did my first roast battle last week, and then I felt guilty because I like destroyed this guy and everything he lived for in life, and then he was like visually upset.
Yeah.
When it was done.
Well, I mean, you kind of know what you're getting into, right?
You'd think so. He did it like 4 or 5 times before then. So but yeah, it's hard not to punch down, I think, is something that they say a lot in comedy. Like, you don't ever want to punch down, and that's hard not to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely want to make people feel better.
I think we got a little bit of time left here. So I guess I want to ask, like, kind of, if it seems like from when we've been talking, your advice to anyone that might want to try doing comedy is, it seems like it's just go do it. Is that kind of accurate of kind of what you'd say?
Yeah, just go do it. And like people are always scared that the worst things that's going to happen is that you're not going to remember what you want to say once you get there, and that they're not going to laugh. But I've seen people that have been doing comedy that are hilarious, and they've been doing it for 15 years, and I've seen them go up and try a new joke and nobody laughs, like for 5 minutes. It happens. All of the stages in comedy, you're gonna bomb and eat shit. Like, just get really comfortable with bombing and eating shit, and you'll be fine. But I've also seen people that are too comfortable with bombing and eating shit, and I'm like, you're not funny. Like, you should probably definitely work in a cubicle. I don't know what you're doing with your life, but this isn't the right time for you.
Yeah.
So play the numbers game. Do 1,000,001. If they're all shitty, then you suck. But if a couple are good, then you're all right.
If one person giggles, it's funny. Like, and a lot of the times it's just stuff that your friends thought was funny, and then nope. It takes years to figure out how to write bits. Like, I'm not going to be able to write a perfect bit for years and translate something that was funny that happened to me into something super relatable that people are going to remember. The best joke I've ever heard in my life, that is my standard for writing jokes, is this kid named Jack Scotty that's actually in a I think he's going to Santa Barbara now, so he's actually out of the Sacramento comedy scene. But he said something along the lines of like, I've always wanted an invisibility cloak, but then I realized I live in California and I can just pick up a cardboard sign. And that's like hilarious. It has a message and it'll stick with you forever. And like to figure out how to do that takes a long time. To just tell somebody a funny story that's relatable, that's not that hard. You just go up there and you have 5 minutes, and like you can do anything for 5 minutes. Like you can have a whole bunch of people stare at you and hate your guts for 5 minutes. It's no big deal.
Yeah. No, it's very inspiring, and it really makes me get excited for stuff like that. You know, I think even TikTok, it's exciting to have these different mediums where you could try new things and explore creativity.
Yeah, with I think the thing with TikTok versus real comedy is not real comedy, but I mean like in like live comedy is you can have people come up to you after the show and say like, you really sucked. Like one time somebody was like, you really sucked. Like your mom probably should have had an abortion.
Wow.
Jesus.
And I'm like, yeah, she probably should have. She wasn't the best mother. I'm not gonna lie. But then it puts you in the situation where when you do have a whole bunch of TikTok followers shitting on you all day, it's like, who cares? Because I'm used to dealing with hecklers in person.
Yeah.
So I think that's the only thing that's scary, right? Is people have to be ready for people to heckle them if they're not good, and then not lose their cool, because that's when things get weird in comedy clubs.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds like one of the hardest things, I think, especially anyone that's introverted. It sounds like you used to be introverted, then you kind of came out of your shell, now you're extroverted, and you can kind of, deal with that. So yeah, I guess anybody that wants to jump into it, if you're, the kind of guy or girl that should be working in a cubicle and you try it, then I guess be prepared for dealing with that.
Yeah. I mean, and it goes for anything creative, I think. It's scary to be yourself, but make the dive, make the leap, just go for it and don't look back.
Oh, what a great
for
way
every
to
10 people
end
that
on.
hate it, there's going to be one person that's like, this changed my life.
And that's
I think
awesome.
so.
That's awesome.
And only 3 people are going to hear it, so that's amazing numbers.
I was gonna say that before comedy, like last year, I couldn't go through the drive-through and talk to the person in the drive-through because I was too scared to talk to anyone. So I would like just do mobile orders for like coffee or whatever, because I just wanted to be like not speak to anybody ever.
Yeah, right.
And then to now be able to talk to whoever and like walk in like I fucking own the place with a phone and be like, this is what we're doing today. It's I think once people just do it, those couple, I'm not saying that you don't always feel like you're going to throw up before you go on stage, because you definitely always feel like you're going to throw up before you go on stage, but it's not the end of the world. And there's actually a local comic, he's not local, he's like national, and you can hear him on Spotify and stuff. His name's Johnny Taylor, and he has this joke he opens with, and he's like, if you just get 5 minutes together, you just grind it out, and you go to open mics and you grind it out and you grind it out, and all you need is 5 minutes, all you need is 5 minutes, she will leave you. And it just like cracks me up, but it's so true, because it's like, you know what, if that person can't support your dream when you're out there hustling, then you don't really need them, and you can do whatever you want to do. It's great. I am getting too cheesy. You told me at the beginning, you were like, bitch, don't get cheesy.
No. I mean, I think it's great. I think, yeah, I mean, we're all about, being positive, having positive attitude. I didn't know if you're going to come on and just do nothing but dick jokes the whole time, which is, I'd take that too. But I mean, I think you've been so inspirational to talk to you and hear your story and everything. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, well, I could go back to dick jokes. So.
Well, maybe end it strong.
Jeff wants to. The donuts.
End it strong with a dick joke. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Usually when somebody meets me, they definitely think that I eat all the vagina. If I get one more dick pic in my DMs, I'm going to be tearing up all the vagina on this side of the Mississippi. I already have a Subaru. I have my hair. I'm one step away from vagina, and it's Birkenstocks. And I don't think men realize when they send us dick pics, they look like hostage photos. It's dark, and it's damp, and it's been beaten to death. And you don't know if it's going to survive the night. And there's never a ransom note. I don't know what you want me to do with it. But I'm always anxiously waiting for the ISIS-style beheading video to come next.
Oh, Jesus.
That's ridiculous.
That was great. Wow. And that's what a way to would take us out. That was awesome, Carollynn the Comic. It's been awesome to talk to you. It's been awesome getting to know you and meeting you and hearing your awesome, inspiring story. So thank you for coming out.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate the art too, as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad this happened. It's been a lot of fun.
You guys are awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. And see you on the next one.